What is project planning? I would say to characterize it, I would say it's a highly iterative process. And it's all about optimizing the recovery efficiency of your minerals in an oil and gas project, and the cost effectiveness of that. So it's optimizing recovery versus minimizing cost. The important stages to project planning starts certainly with a good physical model of the reservoir, a development by your technical team that is really representative of the physical model that you're going to try to implement reservoir engineering tools, recovery tools, drilling, completion, all of these things that once you understand your physical model and the internal workings of that physical model and the fluids that are going through your physical model, then you can optimize on those recoveries. And the optimization then on those recoveries is all about cost. You may compromise on recovery in order to get the biggest bang for your buck. So you may not have a technically perfect recovery project, but the economics, the planning toward the best performance economically is you're spending less money for more oil. It's all about what is it going to cost you if you don't plan properly, if you don't optimize or attempt to go into it with your eyes open, optimizing your cost, utilizing the tools that lead to the best recovery. So thus, you got to work toward and understand going into it, what are you going to get the biggest bang for your buck, and how are you going to go about doing that? Study is cheap. Study is cheap when it comes to spending money on steel, putting it in the ground, drilling costs. You can go way beyond the cost of study and waste money going into the ground that you'll never get back. Good planning and good execution of a good plan is paramount to optimizing economic performance. Yes, examples of where project planning has really delivered value or could have delivered value. I'd like to give two examples actually. One, it was a case where we're exploratory drilling. I was advising a company on their exploration effort. They had been drilling dry holes. Well, as I mentioned, the first stage is developing a physical model and understanding the physical model that is going to work as far as finding and developing oil and gas. The technical team that had been drilling these dry holes for this company was stuck on one physical model where they actually, deriving speculative models from the seismic data, there were actually other indicators suggesting that you had 2 or 3 models, one of which could work. They were stuck on this one model that in the region had proven to be effective. And so they were drilling and re-drilling the same model, even though they had proved, in my mind, that model was not working. Subsequently, the company was advised to drill an alternative model, and that turned into a discovery. Had they had drilled 3 dry holes, summing up to over $100 million, pursuing this one idea, before they drilled the second model and made the discovery, they could have cut their exploratory cost in half by studying the tests on the primary model and then making the decision to test a different physical model. The second example, I would point to more of an engineering type of experience where in revisiting an old water flood, I recognize that they spread out their education, their information gathering, that leads to the development of a more complete physical model. They spread that information gathering and the development of a final model over a 40-year period. And I revisited that experience and said, well, if you were to and collect this information, which would have been available to them on the front end of the project. If you spend this money on the front end collecting data, studying that data, developing a more accurate physical model, it was clear to me that it was within their ability to significantly reduce the time devoted to this learning experience. You learn more on the front end, apply it on subsequent wells. I reran an economic model, and they would have had to spend less, but significantly increasing their profit margin. And the net of that was that it increased the present value threefold to fourfold of what they actually experienced. And the production life of that field would have been cut at least in half.